So the next fight on the prelims is Hyun Sung Park versus Shannon Ross. This is going to be a fight in the I believe it's like the flyweight division, if I'm not mistaken. Park is 8-0. He's 5-0 in his last five. He's coming off of that rear naked choke submission on the road to the UFC matchup there, or tournament that they had. He's fighting against Shannon Ross, who's 13-8, coming off of that KO, like 17-second KO loss to Jesus Aguilar. He will be the older fighter here at 34 compared to 28, and their measurables are basically the same here. Odds for this fight right now, this is getting really wide actually. Park opened up at a minus 300, and he has since opened or since been bet to a minus 500. Gerard, I'll let you break down this fight first. What do you think about the fight between Park and Ross here?
So Park, I think he looks pretty he looks pretty calculated in his fighting, and he doesn't he's not as aggressive on the get-go. He's trying to usually looks like he's setting up strikes and positions, and I would say he's not a devastating striker, and he does have like some submissions wins. And when I look at Shannon Ross, he's been getting finished left and right by even guys who don't have a KO on the record yet. And at first, I thought that he was getting finished by guys who had finishing history, but his last fight was kind of astonishing. When he, yeah, so that was kind of surprising there. But I think I might be the lone one here in the universe, and I think that Shannon Ross is not going to get KO'd.
Mm.
I don't think he's going to get KO'd this next fight. Uh, Parks seems to me he's not a devastating striker, like I said, and he's going to be quick. And Shannon Ross has that experience, but obviously not as of late. Not as of late. It's been not been looking too hot right
He's
now.
got
But
experience, all right.
yeah, but oh, what is it? Is it over 1.5 or 2.5
I'm pretty sure it's like one and a half,
right
I
now?
think. But let me check though.
It's
Let me
one
check.
and a half.
That
Okay.
from what I remembered. But let me see here. It's
Mm,
yeah, under 1.5 is minus 170 right now.
minus 170. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, never mind. That doesn't make it any there's no good plays there that I'm considering as of yet, but the only thing that I could say is that I don't think Shannon Ross is going to get knocked out in this one. And he could still get finished, but not by knockout in my opinion. Um but yeah, I have Hyun Sung Park. I'm not sure if that the line is right though, is what I'm saying. And Shannon Ross could be gone at this point after this fight, but I might be the only ones thinking that he's not going to get knocked out in this one.
Yeah, I mean, totally understandable. Park is he's just a grappler. I think he looks pretty uncomfortable on the feet. Doesn't really seem too aggressive on the feet either. So he's not one of those guys who tries to throw some, let's say, some like looping overhands or just throw some power to try to get the fight to the ground. He just does not look good on the feet to me. He waits for the stand up to kind of come to him. So that's another kind of not a kind of a red flag in my opinion. When he does throw, though, he does throw some jabs, leg kicks. I think that he can chain some right left combos when he is leading in stand up exchanges on the few instances when he is leading. Park, this is an interesting stat. He has been knocked down in his last two fights and came back to win with rear naked chokes in both of them. So I will give him that he's a smart grappler who pounces on opportunities when they are available to him in grappling exchanges. I think that in his last fight, he took his opponent's back standing and proceeded to get the rear naked choke dub. So I think that he is a pretty opportunistic grappler when he sees an opening. Ross, solid all around skill set, actually. I think that he could strike. He can also do a little bit of wrestling and can grapple as well. He does have some decent power in his shots. But the one Achilles heel, if you will, about him is that he takes way too much damage. He likes to move forward and get into firefights. And that has been a recipe for disaster for him. I mean, he's coming off of three straight KO losses. The last two were pretty early in round one. Um, yeah, and also, I mean, just looking at the tape of this guy, I think that I watched his first UFC fight on the Contender Series pretty closely. He was actually, fighting back in that second round, I believe, but he just left his chin way too exposed, and the other guy was just kind of dodging his punches, and he just ate a hook to the face, and that was all she wrote. So I just don't think you can trust this guy's chin anymore. My pick is going to be Park inside the distance. I will pass on this because Park is just so unproven, and this could just be a case of two like lower level fighters fighting each other, and who knows what's going to happen there. But I do think that Park will eventually outlast Ross because of his chin issues. But yeah, minus 500. I'm not looking forward to putting that in any parlays. I'll tell you that. So I'll probably pass on this fight.